For most children, growing up means saving allowance for a bike or waiting years to get a driver's license. For a small circle of young heirs in Dubai and the wider Gulf, growing up means choosing which supercar to take to school and deciding whether this year's holiday should be spent on a private island or aboard a family yacht. Their version of ordinary is, for almost everyone else on Earth, the definition of a fantasy. Take Rashed Belhasa, better known online as Money Kicks. His father built one of the region's largest construction empires, a business spanning more than 50 companies and employing thousands of workers. Rashed never had to work his way toward luxury. It was simply the environment he was born into. By the time he was 11 years old, he was already posting his daily life on Instagram, giving millions of strangers a window into a childhood built on private jets, designer fashion, and celebrity friendships. That early exposure grew into a full YouTube career under the Money Kicks name, where exotic cars, shopping sprees, and once-in-a-lifetime experiences became regular content rather than rare treats. His sneaker collection alone is its own attraction. An entire room in the family home dedicated purely to shoes, holding thousands of pairs said to be worth well over $1 million combined, including rare releases and autographed pairs most collectors would never get close to owning. Then there are the cars. At 15, an age when most teenagers are hoping for a bicycle upgrade, Rashid was given a Ferrari F12 Berlinetta wrapped in luxury fashion branding, turning a supercar into a rolling piece of art. He wasn't even legally able to drive it yet, but a car doesn't need to be driven to make a statement. He eventually sold that Ferrari for roughly $190,000, handled as casually as most people trade in a used phone. Other vehicles followed once he reached driving age, including a specially themed Escalade and a Rolls-Royce Ghost finished with high-fashion detailing. Even his hobbies carry a price tag most families could never imagine. His custom boxing mouthguard, crafted from 18-karat gold and set with diamonds, reportedly cost around $50,000. His signature fragrance choice is a jeweled bottle covered in diamonds, gold, silver, and pearls, valued at over $1 million on its own. The family estate also includes a private zoo housing hundreds of animals, some of them named after luxury fashion brands, a detail that says everything about how normal extravagance has become in that household. Rashid is far from the only young figure living at this level. Marwan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum represents another branch of extreme wealth tied directly to the ruling family of Dubai. He holds influence across major regional organizations and financial institutions, and grew up surrounded by boardrooms rather than classrooms in the traditional sense. His personal car collection alone is estimated to exceed $10 million, featuring Lamborghinis, Bugattis, and a Rolls-Royce Phantom drophead. When he isn't behind the wheel, he can often be found aboard multi-million-dollar yachts, treating open water travel as an everyday convenience rather than a luxury getaway. Another prominent name is Saeed bin Butti Al Maktoum, whose daily commute alone can resemble a rotating showcase of the world's most expensive cars. Beyond his business and government responsibilities, his personal interests lean toward rare wristwatches, ultra-exclusive resort stays, and private island escapes. His watch collection reportedly surpasses the value of many high-end homes, filled with pieces from top luxury watchmakers and limited editions that never reach public retail shelves. Then there's Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum, whose path proves that leaving an elite university early doesn't necessarily mean stepping away from success. Through large-scale construction ventures, government partnerships, and strategic investments across both American and Asian markets, he grew his personal fortune from roughly $1 billion to nearly $20 billion. While his peers were still figuring out early careers, he had already become a serious player in global markets. His properties stretch from Dubai to Malibu to New York, each one designed like something out of an architecture magazine, complete with private helipads and resort-style pools. His supercars and watches aren't simply collected, they're curated and displayed almost like museum pieces, stored in climate-controlled showrooms rather than driven daily. This level of extreme privilege isn't limited to the men of the region either. Young Emirati princesses grow up with childhoods that look nothing like their peers anywhere else in the world. Instead of ordinary toys, some grew up with drone collections, marble dollhouses, and miniature cars modeled after real luxury vehicles. Educated at globally respected universities, many split their time between palace residences in the UAE and homes in cities like London, blending centuries of royal tradition with distinctly modern extravagance. What connects all of these stories is a single truth. For this small group of young heirs, private zoos, supercars gifted as birthday presents, first-class travel treated as routine, and mansions staffed around the clock are simply what normal looks like. Yet behind the sneakers, the yachts, and the diamond-covered accessories lies a much heavier reality. These are not simply wealthy young people enjoying an extravagant lifestyle for its own sake. They are heirs to construction empires, financial dynasties, and in some cases, royal bloodlines, which means their glossy social media presence sits alongside boardroom meetings, succession planning, and constant pressure to protect a family name. Wealth on this scale opens nearly every door imaginable, but it also carries responsibilities that most teenagers never have to think about. Family businesses this large don't run themselves, and heirs are often groomed from a young age to eventually step into leadership roles and manage relationships with governments, banks, and international partners. Every public appearance and every purchase becomes part of a larger narrative about the family's image. There's also a quieter side to this world that rarely makes it into the highlight reels. Personal security details, constant public scrutiny, and the pressure of living up to a family legacy are simply part of daily life once your surname is attached to a multi-billion-dollar empire. Many of these heirs attend some of the most competitive universities on the planet, not purely for prestige, but because they are expected to eventually run companies that employ thousands of people.
Even the way these families spend their downtime reflects a different scale of thinking. A weekend getaway might mean flying to a private island rather than driving to a nearby beach. A birthday celebration might involve chartering a super yacht instead of booking a restaurant. What looks like non-stop indulgence from the outside is, in many cases, simply the backdrop against which these heirs are quietly being prepared to inherit and expand empires that took generations to build.